All right, well, one of the ways we're getting through the Wednesday show, opening up the Twitter lines for questions from your crowd with Chris Simms Unbuttoned, my group, the PFT PM Posse, and we'll whip through some of these. First one that we have comes from @Gigi McDonald. If you were Joe Burrow, Chris, would you pull an Eli or an Elway and refuse to go to the Cincinnati Bengals?
No, I would not. I just, first off, Joe Burrow, correct me if I'm wrong here. I know he was born in Iowa, but he played high school football in Ohio, right? You get a chance to go back to your home state, and honestly, sometimes I just look at these type of situations in Cincinnati and just go, there's nowhere to go but up. I understand it hasn't been always pretty, but it's a chance to reach legendary status too. And I think that's what guys like Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray realized with the Cardinals and the Browns. They just went, well, nobody's ever gone here and really dominated, and I plan to do that. And I think that would be a cool opportunity for Joe Burrow. And to be the number one pick and do all of that is very special. I would not do that if I was Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. He's from Ohio. He was at Ohio State. He transferred away from Ohio State, and it all happened for him at LSU. Right. But, I like the idea of building something and going to a team that's never won a Super Bowl, going to a team where the sky's the limit, where the fan base is scattering. They need a guy like Joe Burrow to bring everything together because they're just irrelevant right now, and Burrow would make them relevant right out of the gate. So I would go ahead and do it if I were he. Right, Maverick 50, what wrinkle would you like to see Green Bay's offense add to give them more of a chance against the San Francisco 49ers defense, Chris?
Ooh, that's a real good question. Now, they're good play actions. They're pretty good in the boot game. They run the ball pretty well. I always talk about, Mike, that their drop-back pass game is not real imaginative to me, but you're not going to change that at this point. The one thing I would say about that jumps out to me, and we saw this a little early on in the game last week, if you remember, Mike, they had some of those, Shanahan, we're going to toss it to the right, but yet the receiver from the right came from that way, and I tossed it to him going the other way, right? Number 32, Irving, I think they gave him a few in the first half. I would like to see more of those type of runs, misdirection. They need to do a little bit more just to keep people honest off their bread and butter run plays to me. And that's where it makes Shanahan so special on the offensive side of the ball and their run game is we have really good meat and potatoes run plays, but we got a few other run plays that are like, hey, up yours, you're not going to stop this every game that are game plan creative. I would love to see a little bit of that. Take some pressure off the run game, make the defense think, slow down a really fast, aggressive front seven of the San Francisco 49ers. So I would say some of those misdirection run plays, I guess, is how I'd classify it.
And, my thought wouldn't really constitute a new wrinkle, but it's more of something that we see from time to time, and it's that sandlot element that Aaron Rodgers brings to the table.
I hear you.
Where he's got that unspoken communication with Davante Adams. We argued last week that the Vikings should attack as best they could the secondary of the 49ers, and they just weren't able to. I'd like to see Davante Adams over on Richard Sherman's side of the field and see what Adams and Rodgers can cook up to get him wide open and just different things where it's just that feel, it's that look, and it's that back foot flip.
I hear you.
We showed yesterday, Chris, your breakdown of the throw to Jimmy Graham, the 27-yarder where it drops in over the top, and you said, I don't know where his feet are going here. I mean, it's amazing how he can make it happen off of all the different platforms, his body in different positions, and he's got that arm strength where he can just drop it in, and you throw on top of it that improvisation that has come out at times this year.
Yep.
That's what I want to see more of. Just a sense that he's got a rock and a twig and a bottle cap, and they're just drawing it up on the fly, and it's working.
Mike, I hear you there, and I don't think that's necessarily, hey, protect it up. Let Davante Adams work one-on-one on the outside. I don't care if it's Mosley or Sherman. Adams and Rodgers combination is special in that, and I don't think you're wrong there. I'm still waiting to see somebody attack the 49ers that way. I think that's what needs to be done, and yes, Mike, come on. Mahomes, Rodgers, have we ever seen quarterbacks who can throw the ball from more awkward, weird positions, fading away, one leg, both legs off the ground? It's unreal what they do, and Rodgers made some throws in that game the other night that, 36 years old, the way that he's still doing it is truly remarkable.
I remember when the Chiefs and the Packers were getting ready to play on a Sunday night during the season. Mahomes was injured, and you were very upset.
Yes.
Because you wanted to see that Aaron Rodgers-Patrick Mahomes showdown, and we may be seeing it in 2.5 weeks.
I know, but I got to root for
Sunday
Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers, so it's all messed up. It's all messed up. I don't know what to do.
Speaking of Kyle Shanahan, the next question comes from Brian Alonzo 89. Do you think Shanahan was sending a message to Jimmy G by running the ball after the interception?
Well, I mean, to a degree. I mean, I don't think he was like, I'm going to show you and send you a message and run the ball no matter what. I mean, I think, it was a message in like, hey, I'm scared as hell. I don't know what the hell you're going to do with the ball. You threw the ball into like a mosh pit of players about 3 or 4 different times. Hey, yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo, we were there. We saw it. We saw him throw one interception. What do you think the Vikings did? Drop 2, 3 other ones, right, Mike? So I think that scared the hell out of Shanahan, and he finally realized, listen, my run game is dominating up front. It might not be sexy and fun, but I'm just going to smash it in there for 5 and 6 yards at a time because, yeah, I think he was a little worried about the way Jimmy Garoppolo was seeing the field and playing at that moment.
And it's kind of strange. I think about what happened in the third quarter. There was another near miss on 2nd and 5, the opening drive of the third quarter. But on third down, he connected with Kendrick Bourne for a 20-yard gain. And then that's when they went into
run
the ball mode. And look, if you can get 5 or 6 yards at a clip and you demoralize the defense, chew up the clock, I don't know that he was sending a message to Jimmy Garoppolo. I just think he was doing what he had to do to win the game.
Right.
And at that point, he knew this is how we win the game.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And he just knew if I can win the game that way and I don't even have to roll the dice on Jimmy making a good throw or a bad decision or whatever it may be, so be it. Let's just do it that way.
Next question comes from Displaced Chief. Kelsey or Kittle, I guess. All of Twitter wants to know. Of course, Travis Kelce, Chiefs tight end. George Kittle, 49ers tight end. Which guy do you prefer?
Well, I think I would have preferred George Kittle. I would. Now, both of these guys are awesome. We know that. Kelsey may be a little more nuanced as a route runner and things like that than George Kittle. I mean, Kelsey's very special that way. But blocking, certainly taking George Kittle. That's not even close. Yards after catch and physicality with the ball in their hand, certainly going George Kittle there. And, I think George Kittle's faster at this point, too. I don't know if he's quite as slippery and as smooth in the pass routes, but everything else I give George Kittle the advantage there, so I'm going Kittle. What about you?
Well, and I like both guys a lot. And I feel like with Kittle, you don't just have a tight end. You've got a warrior. You've got a football player.
Yeah,
you've got a guy who's going to get the team fired up. You've got a guy whose presence. I mean, he had 3 catches for 15 yards on Saturday against the Vikings. And it's not like he was sulking on the sidelines. He was as fired up after the game, running around like a crazy man.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you need that spirit on an NFL team. It's easy for guys to get jaded and they're hurt and they're pros. It's not college, it's not high school. A little of that rah-rah I think is good. And George Kittle brings the full package to the 49ers.
He does. Kelsey's a great leader too, but you're right. George Kittle personifies, I think, the kind of attitude Kyle Shanahan wants out of the leaders on his football team, and that's where he's special.
All right, at the J. Carmike, how do the Chiefs stop Derrick Henry if Chris Jones is a scratch again? Jones day-to-day with a calf injury that kept him from playing on Sunday against the Texans.
Well, yeah, that would be a huge blow. I mean, Chris Jones, you could sit here and argue he's the second best player on the Kansas City Chiefs other than Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that's what was impressive about last weekend, the fact that their defense played that well without him. Now, they can stop Derrick Henry. The difference between what Kansas City was doing maybe, week 10 and before and then where they're at now is they just got a lot of players that are playing at a higher level. I mean, Xavier Williams is back, healthy. They got Kalen Sanders, number 99, 325-pound defensive tackle, who's really come on the last half of the season. Terrell Suggs, of course, him. Passan Young, number 92, has played phenomenal football for them. So they've had a lot. Derek Nandi, they've had a lot of other big guys step up for their football team. And that's really what has helped them become a lot better on the defensive side of the ball. So I still think they can be very effective in run defense. The big thing with Chris Jones, where they miss him more than anything, yeah, he's good against the run. He's a superstar against the pass. He's, other than Aaron Donald, the best interior defensive tackle pass rusher in all of football. And that's where they will miss him a lot because he can push the pocket and create havoc that way. I think in the run game, though, they can be okay without him, Mike.
Yeah, and Peter King and I were talking about this yesterday. With the Titans and Derrick Henry, it really has become almost like middle school football where there's the one big kid who no one can stop, and they just give him the ball over and over again. And everybody knows he's getting the ball, but you can't stop him because he is a freight train with a rocket up his butt.
He is,
and
yes.
no one can get in his way. I mean, you can't simulate it in practice. Bill Belichick always takes away what the opposing offense does best. Couldn't take away Derrick Henry no matter how hard he tried. And we're going to be picking games tomorrow, and man, I'm very tempted to take the Titans because I don't think the Chiefs can stop the guy. We'll see how that all plays out. Carrie 0078, and this isn't a question, Chris, as much as it is an observation. Congrats on not getting in the ref's way this time around with the gray LeBrons on. So, yes, there was no moment on Saturday in Santa Clara of Chris Simms. Oh, and there it is, right on cue, control room. There's the ref.
Thanks so much.
There's Simms. And there it is. You're just a little too close to the white line. And there he goes. You know what? All the snow. We showed yesterday the time lapse of the removal of the snow at Arrowhead Stadium. They have a new procedure this year. All that snow was gone. They got it out. See, that's why you were maybe you
it was a little tight
the
over
rule
there.
Change. You prompted the procedural change at Arrowhead Stadium because you get too close to the field, so they got to get all that snow out. So it's the Chris Simms rule.
I'm glad I could help. I hope they would have called that. But what did I say to you in the first drive of the game when we were on the sidelines, 49ers Vikings? Remember what I said to you about 2 plays in? I said, hey, guys, look for refs. Watch out. You know, because I'm like scarred for life by it. Between that and being on the sidelines of Notre Dame, all I did this year was worry about dodging refs so I didn't become a social media idiot once again.
We did post a photo over the weekend of the crew at the game, and you had these big giant LeBrons on, and somebody wanted to know what the shoes were, and somebody else chimed in and said they're the Ref Tripper 3. That is the brand. We need to get you a shoe. We need to get Nike, Under Armour, Reebok, Pickway.
Nike. I'm all
Pickway?
Nike, Mike. I got to go
we'll
Nike.
Get you Pickway. The Ref Tripper 3 coming soon to a store near you. Last question, very important, and this comes from the Marshawn Lynch admonition that was made earlier this week. Dave Ollie, 556-89793, have to be complete. Did you take care of your chicken, Chris? And by the way, we've come to the conclusion after careful analysis and study that when Marshawn Lynch tells young players to take care of their chicken, he's talking about their money. Did you take care of your chicken?
Yep, I took care of my chicken. My chicken's real good. Yeah, I learned some new things this week. Taking care of your chicken. If you don't want the flu to spread, you wash your hands and wash your ass. I mean, I got it all taken care of. Learned a lot of things this week.
The actual quote from Devontae Adams was, wash your hands, wash your butt. But, of course, you're going to skew in the way that's going to get us in trouble.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.